Okay, can you see my screen right now? Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Wei, and thanks so much for offering me this opportunity to share my co-experiences during the fall term. Sorry. Actually, I postponed my work term, and I'm currently in the winter term placement at the library apartment. And first, I'll give a brief introduction about the organization I worked for during the fall term, the Sustainable Development Technology Canada, because I believe not many of you have heard of this organization or agency, and focuses on the clean technology in Canada. It is an independent foundation created by the federal government, which serves as a catalyst for the clean tech ecosystem in Canada and helps Canadian companies develop and deploy clean technology solutions, and tackling world's most environmental challenges such as climate change and clean air, clean water. And they do this through funding, knowledge, and ecosystem connectivity. And its mission is to identify and fund Canadian companies developing and demonstrating new technologies with the potential to transform the environmental and economic prosperity of Canada, and support them in their efforts to become a global leader in their field. And since 2001, they invested in over 1.28 billion in 450 companies, creating 14,600 jobs in Canada. Sorry. And my work at SCTC is basically divided into two forms: internal communication and external communication, which are carried out in a way as internal newsletter and social media strategy, and the corporate service. The goal of the internal communication is to support breaking down the internal silos within SCTC and propose and implement plans to better integrate and remote staff and improve collaboration. And this strategy is implemented via newsletter and improve the employee portal for all the employees within the organization. And the external communication plays an important role for branding, marketing, and networking activities. The internal newsletter is the first project I worked with during my first week at STTC. Basically, I got training on Thursday, and I'm supposed to post a newsletter on Friday. So it's basically, as you can imagine, it's a kind of a disaster for my first newsletter. And actually, it's throughout this work term, I think I published 20 newsletters, include small news and some big news newsletters. And I had the full autonomy to decide the contents, format, and all of the other information to be presented in the newsletter. And unlike the newsletter, which focuses on the internal communication, the project of social media strategies works to deal with external communication and the interaction with multiple stakeholders, such as portfolio companies, government agencies, and public. Social media kind of support for the organization to convey its vision to its audiences, and we actively interact with our companies to form kind of ecosystem network there. And my major duty is to manage the social media channels and develop media strategies for SDTC. And during my work term, I was handling organizations' activities on various social channels, the majorly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And at the same time, I also helped with some tasks with website updates. So basically, during my 4 months term, all of the content on their social media channels are drafted by me. And at the end of each month, I would submit the social media analytics report, which provided an overview of social media strategy for the previous months. And I would adjust and update the social media strategy based on this analysis, including kind of engagement and website traffic, something like that. And besides the internal newsletter and external social media strategy, also conducted other communicative tasks that are kind of important for me and for the organization, I hope. It's one of the most important tasks is the company profiling, which is a crucial part for the preparatory work for the external communication. And I was responsible to draft the spreadsheet of the funded companies regarding their vision, their mission, their technologies, location, accelerators, etc. And also media spreadsheet, which includes all the companies, their CEO's email, their social channels, and other generic information. And another important task is a positivity project, which is kind of collaborative project between the communication and the HR department to be presented on the all-staff meeting. Our HR intern and I will fully in charge of this project, and the purpose of it is to boost the positivity and appreciation of the year of 2020 for better employee experience, since the kind of the pandemic leads to a negative social environment. Well, the procedure for these duties are quite similar. Basically, there are just 3 steps. You brainstorming ideas and come up with a draft, then I'll submit the draft for review, and finally post the content. And for the internal newsletter, it's a news page that keeps updating every week. And the purpose is to inform the employees of the latest updates that occur within the organization to integrate all the employees. And therefore, it kind of should be comprehensive and concise to convey all the information will remain a reader-friendly nature. And the content includes updates within the organization, the EDI, PCS information session, and sustainability. And for the social media post, it is presented in a table that indicates the time, theme, content, platform, and other important kind of information of the scheduled post. And the works involved searching for the newsworthy content and tailoring for the different social media platforms. Actually, I was also handling the organization media inbox, where we basically receive all the kind of incoming news, like news and articles and subscriptions. I kind of select and filter the important information over. Well, at the time when I was handling the mailbox, there was over 2,000 emails unread, and I just helped filter the information there. And actually, at the end of each month, as I mentioned before, I submit the social analytics report and kind of self-adjusting external social media strategy. And for the positivity project, I created one video to recall the good news happening in 2020 and show appreciation within the organization. And since it is a collaborative project between the communication and HR department, so basically it went through the review by both departments. And I believe it's until the 7th edition, until the video was finally approved. I can show you a little bit of it, if it works.
In the past 2 weeks, the number of cases of COVID-19 outside China has increased 13-fold.
There is new data on jobs today. There are 600,000 fewer paid jobs in Canada today.
Milestone, the world surpassing 1 million deaths from the coronavirus.
I did not share the content because it's kind of considered an internal thing, and we don't publish it on public or any of the social channels at all. So I just take the parts that are not that important. And through these works, I learned a lot of things in the field of communication, especially for organizational communication and environmental communication. And I have seen the communicative practices in organizations tackling the environmental issues and promoting clean technology. And it's kind of a way to help me to contextualize the theories and what I learned at school in the real life circumstance. And due to the pandemic, it's quite different, as my other colleagues mentioned, work remotely for the all time and encounter issues like mute, unmute, cannot hear you, my camera does not work. As lots of things happens and still not quite used to, but some good news is that for some of them, I learned it's really a good thing to reduce the commute time. It's almost, for some of them, it takes an hour to go to the office, and this might be a good thing. And here are some of the takeaways. Of course, the main thing is the communication skills and principles. Also, I think real life experience provides a new perspective of learning and contribute to the existing knowledge. Also, I got the opportunity to challenge myself and be confident in trying new things. And by doing this, I have a better understanding of myself. And due to the special nature of the organization, I have a deep understanding of sustainability and clean technology in Canada and on a global scale. And finally, remote working. I think this might be a topic for the next few years and trigger discussion around the world. I have seen some of the companies like Facebook promote this kind of working style, but I think it's also the discussion regarding work-life balance or isolation, flexibility, like around this topic. And basically, this is my co-op experiences, and thank you for listening.
Fantastic. A great final presentation. Everybody put together such lovely, lovely presentations, from the physical presentations, PowerPoints, to the stories that you've shared. Truly, truly wonderful. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Isaac?
Yes, I just want to, first, I like all the presentations. I think this is a great idea. And actually, I'm proposing that this, our COP students at the MC should be invited to present their experience to undergrad students. I like very much this idea from Dr. Strangelove, and we should find a way to implement that, because these experiences are really very interesting in terms of what you can learn during the co-op, what you can also apply, and maybe also things that we should incorporate in our seminars, in our master seminars. But I would like just to make a comment, because I've heard, I mean, this is something that I hear over and over, which is the difference between the real life and the university life. I mean, university is not a fantasy world, it's also real. Then, yes, and it is important. I mean, certainly there is a distinction to be made. I understand, because I come from the professional world in communication, I understand that. But I think it's also the real world, what we talk or we discuss in the seminar. But it could be a little bit different from the other real world, that is the professional world. But I think both are connected, and both should be connected. And something that I would like to highlight, it's not a question, but I think it's important to highlight that, is that, you know, when I decided to quit the professional world of communication and public relations, it's because I had too much real world. I had too much of the real world, meaning that I didn't have time to think and analyze and even question some of the things that I was doing in that real world. And the university gave me the opportunity to come back to the reflection and the critical thinking of what I was doing. And this is very important to preserve that. The university is the space, it's the place to preserve the critical thinking about the practice. And I would like to highlight that. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sure that there's many present here who would agree with that, and have opinions on that. And that's a great topic for future discussions, for sure, which is a wonderful aspect of putting together conferences like this, because they spark ideas and conversations. So I believe we had a question from Dr. Strangelove. How long did it take to create the video that you showed us part of?
I think for the first draft, it's around 5 hours, including collecting the sources. But for the editing, I'm not quite sure, because it goes through 7th edition. So
definitely a lot of time, and it was extremely well done. Even just from the short clip that we saw, I was getting a little emotional. So I'm sure it was wonderful to be shared internally. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions pour cette présentation? Okay, fabulous. Thank you again, everyone, for your presentations. We do have, I will just stop the recording here.